Binge the full week of The Ray Taylor Show ad-free over at inspireddisorder.com/plus.
This is The Ray Taylor Show.
Welcome to The Ray Taylor Show, where I bring you reviews on the latest movies and TV shows, as well as classic and foreign films. I'm your host, Ray Taylor, and on this podcast, I'll be talking about all things film and television. Whether you're looking for a new show to binge or want to know if that blockbuster is worth the trip to the theater, or just want to hear my thoughts on a classic or foreign film, I've got you covered. So join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for new episodes, and let's dive into the world of film and television together. On today's episode, I am talking about the 1986 classic Royal Warriors, directed by David Chung, written by Kang Chung Sang, and starring Michelle Yeoh, Hiroki Sanada, and Michael Wong. This is a movie. In this movie, Michelle Yip of the Hong Kong police is a mild-mannered kung fu expert. Michael Wong from Air Security is happy-go-lucky, stuck on himself, constantly talking, and smitten by Michelle. Yamamoto is quiet, hard-boiled, leaving the Tokyo police to spend time with his wife and daughter. They form an alliance when they foil a hijacking on a plane flying a mob prisoner from Tokyo to Hong Kong. This movie, after diving into a bunch of early Jackie Chan films, including the Police Story franchise that features Michelle Yeoh in Police Story 3 Super Cop, still haven't been able to see Super Cop 2, that is Michelle Yeoh's spin-off in that franchise. But because I've been diving into a bunch of Jackie Chan stuff, and I recently subscribed to the Criterion streaming service, where not only are there more Jackie Chan movies, early Jackie Chan movies that I plan on reviewing, but also they have a playlist of movies, a collection of Michelle Yeoh movies entitled Michelle Yeoh Kicking Ass Collection on Criterion. So, because she was so great in that Jackie Chan movie, obviously I was also a huge fan. My favorite movie of last year is Everything Everywhere All at Once, where she is also amazing. I figured, and I've never seen any of her early movies, so this is an opportunity for me to go back, rewatch some early Michelle Yeoh films where she kicks ass, and this movie is amazing. This movie was great, so I decided to go back, and not only will I continue to review early Jackie Chan films, as they are also available on the Criterion channel, but also reviewing Michelle Yeoh films. So this will be the first of the Michelle Yeoh movies, and I think I'll just swatch each week, go between the two. Wasn't aware of this movie. This is part of a bigger series of films, apparently. I don't know if Michelle Yeoh is in all of them. This movie, I believe, was the second film in the series, but was released in the UK and the US as the first film, and as it did well, they released the first film as the sequel, which it seems like is something that happens from time to time with international movies, especially like movies from Hong Kong, where like I know Jackie Chan movies similarly, where they will come out with different titles and then in many ways, many times reorder the franchise because they released a sequel first and then they release previous films later. It gets very confusing, but regardless of the history or the other movies that are part of the franchise that this movie is, this movie does a good job at being a self-contained movie. You don't have to watch the first movie. I never have. You don't have to watch any of the other ones. It is a very self-contained story. So it's great. It's a great action film. This also has great shots, like directed like a great film, just a great drama. Editing is great. The fight scenes and stunts in this are also great. Kind of a serious movie that also has a lot of action. So in contrast to Jackie Chan's movies that are more of the comedy with kung fu. This is more of a serious drama mixed with absolutely great fight scenes and still dangerous stunts. Even though Jackie Chan's not in it, still some crazy stunts that happen in this movie. And more serious fights, not as comedic as Jackie Chan's. And a lot more editing in the fights, right? Really fast edits and cuts, but still showcasing and showing what everybody's doing, not really distracting from the action like a lot of modern-day films that do a lot of editing. I think this is a nice combination of providing editing for action scenes and fight scenes, showing different angles to the fight scene, but also still a coherent fight, seeing everything that's happening. So basically making the fights a little bit more stylish, using interesting angles to catch specific moments of the action. And I love the way this movie's shot. Very interesting angles, shot selection, very, very cool, right? You don't see these kinds of shots necessarily in action films. Definitely had a vibe of somebody that, the director clearly loves film and is filmed in many ways almost like a drama that has interesting shots, like a David Fincher movie or whatever, but with amazing action scenes. And you have the three characters in this are very different, very interesting. You have Michelle Yeoh's character, who's this Hong Kong police. You have this other guy who is from Japan, who's kind of trying to spend more time with his daughter, trying to leave the police department, spend more time with his family. And then you have this other guy who's kind of like this fanboy, goofy guy. Very interesting trio of characters that kind of all get wrapped up in the opening action sequence. And you get interesting backstory for the antagonists, for the bad guys. Almost makes them sympathetic on some level, which is very interesting. But a great trio of protagonists. Very different energy, very different goals with each one of them. With also great action set pieces and great fights, great stunts, explosions, car chases, a lot of car wrecks. Some fun gunplay, hand-to-hand fight scenes, all of that stuff in this movie. Even some moments I wasn't expecting, where, let's just say, not everybody survives. Not everybody that you would expect to survives this movie. But I do want to talk about specifics, so if you haven't seen Royal Warriors and you like action movies that have good fight scenes, and you want to see that has more of a dramatic lean to it, great performances, interesting story. I would highly recommend checking this movie out, but if you haven't and you don't want to be spoiled, this is your warning. Let's take a quick break from this episode to talk about Attention all Ray Taylor Show fans! We're excited to announce we've just released a line of exclusive merchandise featuring original artwork inspired by the show. Our high-quality shirts and biodegradable phone cases are a perfect way to show your support for the show and make a great gift for any fan. Plus, with each purchase, you'll be helping us continue to bring you great content. So don't wait. Head on over to inspireddisorder.com now and check out the full collection. Thanks for listening, and we hope you'll show your support by grabbing some Ray Taylor Show merchandise today. And now, let's get back to the show. This movie opens with Michelle Yeoh just kind of out in the streets during like a street fair, taking pictures of the different entertainers. And there's this guy that's being chased by like these mobsters that were trying to shake him down, and she goes to help him. So it early on showcases what Michelle Yeoh's able to do, her character's able to do, which her character's name is Michelle as well, with her kicks and her fighting and all that stuff, fighting off the attackers, fighting them off with, they have like these swords, and she has like this wooden practice sword that she's fighting against them with. Pretty amazing introduction for her. Then the airplane fight scene where all three of our main characters kind of meet each other. The entire set piece with the whole airplane is absolutely crazy. This prisoner kind of escape situation. Michelle and the other guy, the cop from Japan, are really doing a lot to kind of help save everybody. He's on the plane with his family, and she's just there on a flight. Very intense. There's a moment where a window gets shot out, and one of the bad guys is like has one of his arms sucked out the window, and he's trying to get back in. She goes to help him, and she ends up getting shoved in the window. Very dramatic scene, this intense scene, right? As she kicks his legs out and his head gets sucked through, and the pressure kind of killing him. Very insane. There's gunfights. There's a grenade that ends up getting thrown at one point, and the Japanese cop, the Yamamoto, puts the grenade in the pantry where all the food is to kind of help absorb the explosion. Amazing. Very intense scenes, very badass. And then we have cuts to him and his family, and it's very melodramatic moment. The score, him playing with his daughter, and then he pretends to be dead, plays dead, and then the daughter starts to cry. Very touching music playing, very cheesy. There's a moment at breakfast where he hands his wife some buttered toast, and she has this look on her face like it's the first time he's ever acknowledged her presence. It is so weird and interesting, and I don't know, I think they're trying to say a lot in this moment because of what happens later, where there's a car bomb and they don't make it, and the stunt is pretty crazy because you have the actor, which I assume it's the actor because the camera's facing the actor. Between the actor and the camera is the car that explodes, and he is close to the car, running towards the car as it's exploding. Crazy. Seems like a super dangerous stunt, but awesome. Leads to a crazy car chase where cars are wrecking, and it's the type of car wrecks that feel real, right? Cars, trucks, buses catching on fire. Then leads to a foot chase as this guy, his family just got blown up and he's chasing after him. And coincidentally, Michelle and the other guy happen to be outside of his house when they're leaving. He's going to meet him at the airport, and then he noticed the bomb. But leads to a foot chase, fighting in an alley, and in a construction site. He ends up falling into this hole, and the dude gets in a bulldozer and pushes sand on it. Another stunt that seems super dangerous as this guy is being covered in a shitload of sand. And then you have a great fight with Michelle and the bad guy in the cab of the bulldozer. Pretty amazing. And throughout all this action, no dialogue, which is great, right? In an American movie, there'd be so much dialogue. There'd be so much back and forth between the characters. But another great action set piece. And you find out that the bad guys seem to be all old army buddies, right? And they made a bond to always be there for each other. And we see this a couple times. Later we see another flashback of them where one of them accidentally steps on a landmine, and they all come together and put their knives in the ground to hold the thing, and they're we're going to do this together. When he steps off, it's either it's going to blow up and it's going to take us all, or we're all going to live because we're all brothers and we're always going to be there for him. So it definitely makes them more sympathetic, but at the same time, they're not good dudes. And there's another side story where the guy, the flight security guy, has this crush on Michelle's character, and it's just it's kind of unnecessary. It leads to something that's pretty brutal, but kind of annoying. He's a try-hard kind of a guy. She doesn't seem very interested in him, and he's constantly sends her flowers with pictures of him. Very, very kind of a weird situation. You have the Japanese cop going rogue, getting doing an illegal arms deal, right? That ends up kind of being funny, fighting for bullets. And then at the end, he tells the guy that he's just borrowing the gun, but a great fight scene nonetheless. You have this moment where he calls Michelle because he knows he's like going to use Michelle and this other guy as bait, basically, to draw out one of the bad guys. And he tells her to meet at this restaurant called California. And inside this restaurant, there is neon signs. There are these tic-tac-toe themed neon signs that are like suspended in midair with like puffs of smoke being billowed. Random palm trees around. It's all black paint on the walls, like a nightclub scene. Very weird spot named this restaurant named California. Very interesting. And ends up being a great shootout, great fight scene in that restaurant. Let's take a quick break from this episode because I want to promote. Are you looking for a way to take your love of The Ray Taylor Show to the next level? Look no further than Inspired Disorder Plus. As a member, you'll get access to a whole host of amazing perks, including the full week of shows, ad-free in both audio and video versions, a live painting archive, early access to the many faces, members-only discounts and deals, a podcast back catalog with over 600 episodes. But that's not all. As a member, you'll get access to my personal blog as well as my creative writing. You'll also get the chance to ask me anything you want. With all of these benefits and more, Inspired Disorder Plus is a must-have for any fan of The Ray Taylor Show. So don't wait. Go sign up now. Head on over to inspireddisorder.com/plus and start enjoying all of the amazing perks of the membership. And now, let's get back to the show. And, of course, she gets in trouble for being a part of that because she's, out of all of them, she's the one that works for the police department there. So she kind of gets chewed out. The guy trying to date her decides to, in order to try and get on her good side, he has one of the other cops steal evidence so that he can present it to her as if he cares about this and is trying to help as well. It is just another aspect of that character that is cringeworthy, but it ends up leading. She tells him off, tells him to return the evidence, and of course he doesn't. But in him not returning it, he notices something. He notices that there's one of the guys with sideburns at the restaurant is part of the group. And trying to redeem himself, right? He has like a dark room where he's able to like develop the picture in a way where you can see inside the shadows to see this other guy who was in a car in the background, right? That to show that he was part of it. He also has a VCR that has the ability to like zoom without losing any clarity. So kind of wild. But finds out, and as he's going to go show her the evidence, he gets caught. Gets shot in the ankle, then hung up where he's just like blood dripping by the guy with the sideburns. So now she's forced into a situation where she has to save this guy that's annoying. Right? Obviously she doesn't want him to die, but like he got himself into like not only is he annoying, then he steals evidence. He finds proof with that evidence that this other guy is also involved. But because he is a klutz and just ends up getting himself in trouble, which then brings her into it. But, of course, she still wants to get this guy. And he's hung off the side of the building. And in order to try and get her not to go fight the guy, which he thinks that she'll die, he decides to untie his foot so that he falls from the side of the building. Right, sacrificing himself to keep her from attacking this other guy where he thinks she's going to get killed. And it does nothing. He just kills himself. He kills himself, and she goes up there. Bad guy's not there anymore, but it's not like she's going to stop. He didn't prevent anything. But, sacrificed himself. An annoying character gone. And, of course, there were flowers, again, that he ordered before he got caught. So they show up, and she's in her room. And she's like surrounded by flowers that he's given her with all of these cards of him doing goofy faces. just like supposed to be this touching, emotional moment, but you know, it is what it is. During his funeral, she tells the reporter that she's going to get revenge. Her boss doesn't like that very much. You see bad guys modifying bullets, injecting something into the bullets. I don't know what it's supposed to be. Then ending up digging up Michael's body, right, in the coffin. And the cemetery looks very creepy, as, you know, kind of great production design of the cemetery. And he sends pictures and a VHS tape to Michelle and the Japanese cop to kind of intimidate them, showing that he dug up the casket and now he has the casket suspended by this crane in this construction site, right? The Japanese cop's VHS is edited differently, that shows more, that shows that the crane is rigged up with dynamite so that that Michelle is going to get blown up if she tries to do anything, but only the Japanese cop sees it. Only has 14 minutes left in this movie. And I'm like, what is like, are they going to be able to fit in? I was worried. Like, are they going to be able to fit in a final battle in this 14 minutes? And they were. It was pretty amazing final battle where Japanese guy gets away from protective custody. He drives his car in. It ends up flipping and kind of getting stuck, gas kind of coming out. And Michelle shows up in a tank, which made me laugh. It is kind of hilarious. So you have her driving this tank, pushes the Japanese guy out of the way, and then goes and drives, crashing into the supports of this building that the bad guy is in, which is kind of crazy. He throws a Molotov cocktail at the tank, so she ends up kind of getting stuck in the tank. But she eventually gets out, and now she's fighting that bad guy who's now got a chainsaw, which is crazy. And then the dude gets set on fire, and using himself on fire to light this fuse that is rigged up to blow everything up. And, of course, they get out just in time as everything blew up. Amazing final action set piece. I was very nervous they wouldn't end it, right, or the end wouldn't be satisfying. But it ended up being a great action set piece. All of the action in this movie was absolutely amazing. The gang of bad guys all died. The cops all got their revenge, even though they both went rogue. Great hand-to-hand fights from both stars, which didn't realize. Recently reviewed John Wick Chapter 4. The manager of the Osaka Continental in John Wick Chapter 4 is Yamamoto, is the Japanese cop in this movie. Crazy coincidence that I reviewed that movie this week and then also decided to watch this movie. Had no idea until I was prepping and saw the name similarity and then double checked, and it's like, it is the same guy. Absolutely crazy. But great hand-to-hand fights in this movie. Great stunts, some of which look super dangerous. Great car stunts as well. I'm excited to watch more Michelle Yeoh's action movies, definitely. I knew she was a badass, but this will give me a whole new appreciation for her, going back, rewatching these early films from hers. But I had a lot of fun, so if you want a good action movie, check out Royal Warriors wherever you can. It's currently on Criterion Channel. But I want to thank everybody for tuning into this episode of The Ray Taylor Show. I hope you enjoyed my thoughts on Royal Warriors. Don't forget to tune in every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for more movie and TV show reviews. And join the conversation by leaving a comment or rating on your favorite podcast platform or over on youtube.com/inspireddisorder. Until next time, enjoy the show. Subscribe to The Ray Taylor Show on YouTube and everywhere podcasts are found. Binge the full week ad-free over at inspireddisorder.com/plus. Purchase Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!
Today is the day where you wake up and you realize that everything that you've been dreaming about, everything that you've been wanting, every goal and wish and hope that you've ever had can become real. Dreams can come true. What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.